Hello, people. This is Mac with Mac Commentary. As you know, I've reported and I've been talking about it over the last few weeks in my videos about the senseless violence that's occurring amongst our youth in this country. And we had another senseless shooting here on Wednesday in Baltimore, Maryland, and last evening they attempted to have, they had a town hall meeting regarding this shooting. And I want just to tell you a little bit about it here from this report here. Said a 16-year-old boy was killed and 4 other male students were injured in a shooting in the parking lot of West Baltimore Shopping Center Wednesday morning. The Edmondson High School students were standing in a group outside of Popeye and Rita's Italian Ice at the Edmondson Village Shopping Center when 2 shooters fired at least 20 rounds at them before running behind the building, police said. 2 17-year-olds, 2 18-year-olds, and a 16-year-old were shot, and the severity of their injuries varied. Emergency medical service took 2 students to the University of Maryland Shock Trauma Center, where Deontay Dorsey, 16, died, the police said. 3 students were taken to Sinai Hospital, and their conditions were unknown Wednesday evening. Police identified Dorsey Thursday morning, but have not identified the other students. The Edmondson Village Shopping Center in the Rocknell Heights neighborhood is a known hotspot for police activity. Baltimore Police Commissioner Michael Harrison said at a news conference an officer who was monitoring the area had left the parking lot just minutes before gunfire broke out around 11:18 a.m. Now people, the situation here is dire, First of all, this shopping center is located across, very near Edmondson High School. And it makes you wonder why would they not keep patrols there at all times? I mean, rather than have them there. They said these students went over there right after lunch, during the lunch hour. Now, to me, it would make sense to have officers stationed there during the lunch hour of this, when the school lets out for lunch. But there's a big blame game going on here, as you will see in the video that's coming up, where they are blaming each other. They're blaming the mayor, which you see in this picture on your left, the police commissioner, and one of the city councilmen of that particular ward there. And I tell you, this blame game will not resolve the issue until they get down to the root cause of it. A lot has to do with not just drugs, but as I've spoken on this many times, it's with the rap culture out there. And where do they get these automatic weapons? Because some said that it sounded like a Uzi or AR, or it's an automatic rifle, that went off, that they fired at least 20 rounds in a crowd. So I'm telling you, people, this is more serious than we at first thought, because it's going on, it's happening continuously. And these people are throwing their hands up in the air as, oh, whose fault is this? Oh, it's the school board for letting them out early. Oh, it's the shopping center for Popeyes for selling them food. And I mean, it is going on and on. And I tell you, let's take a look at the video here and see what the reporters are saying about it. Now, we will come back and discuss this a little bit more. But in the meantime, also, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Talk to you soon.
Thank you. In the wake of yesterday's mass shooting, some were quick to point the finger at the businesses at the troubled Edmondson Village Shopping Center for selling to students and minors during the school day.
Some are questioning how the students were able to leave school grounds in the middle of the day. Fox 45's Amy Simpson takes a closer look.
No students inside Edmondson Westside High School today, with classes canceled a day after yesterday's deadly mass shooting at the shopping center across the street. 5 students were shot. One of them, a 16-year-old, died from his injuries. Yesterday afternoon, both the police commissioner,
students at Edmondson Westside High School, which is right across the street, and were in this area on their lunch break,
and the neighborhood's city councilman,
we're just coming up here on their lunch break. It's heartbreaking.
Said the high schoolers were at the shopping center during lunch hour. Today, Fox 45 News questioned Baltimore City Schools on the policy for students leaving campus during the school day and whose responsibility it is to enforce those rules. In a lengthy statement this afternoon, the district said it's a system-wide requirement for students to stay on campus during school hours. A rule that schools proactively communicate to families and students. Most recently, a reminder going out to Edmondson High School in December. And while city schools said it's the school administration's responsibility to enforce the rules, the district relies on the surrounding community for protection and support. But as the investigation was just getting underway into who fired the guns outside of Popeyes and why, Mayor Brandon Scott pointed to the fast food restaurant for its role in the ordeal.
This Popeyes has been cited before for selling to minors and students during the daytime.
The mayor's office did not answer questions today about that city ordinance or when this Popeyes was cited. But Fox 45 News found this Baltimore police ordinance, which dictates a daytime curfew for minors, saying no minor under the age of 16 may remain in or about any public establishment between 7:30 and 3 on any day which the minor is required to be in school.
This is something that shouldn't happen because those young people wouldn't be here if they knew they couldn't buy something from this place.
On the front door of that Edmondson Village Popeyes today reads this sign: no students will be allowed to purchase nor consume between the hours of 8 and 3. And in a statement today, Popeyes said, "We closely work with local officials and respect their wishes to not serve students during the school day." The fast food chain went on to say no one from Popeyes was involved in the shooting, but they closed for the day Wednesday, allowing staff to go home after the tragic events in the parking lot outside. And while some blame Popeyes, others in the community disagree.
Those children come from the shopping center, from the school, over to the shopping center. They're not even inside of Popeyes. They're sitting on the wall of Popeyes. Popeyes can't control that.
This woman pointing to Baltimore City Schools for those students leaving campus.
It should be somebody in the shopping center, and it should be somebody on the corner that's controlling what's going on.
Well, tonight we are taking a closer look at the mayor placing blame on business owners, some of it at least, for that deadly shooting. Fox 45's Keith Daniels joins us for that part of the story tonight. Keith?
Officials say they do require students to stay on campus during school hours. They say it's the responsibility of school administration, of the school's administration, to enforce those rules, but they do rely on the community to help with support. And tonight, the mayor looking at others for their role in the shooting of those students. Not long after the deadly shooting of 16-year-old Deontay Dorsey and the wounding of 4 of his schoolmates Wednesday, some city leaders were quick to point fingers at the businesses at Edmondson Village Shopping Center for selling to students and minors during the school day.
We've been fighting for years to get this shopping center in the hands of a better owner.
Mayor Brandon Scott openly criticizing the restaurant where the students reportedly had gone for lunch just moments before the midday gun violence.
This Popeyes has been cited before for selling to minors and students during the daytime. This is something that shouldn't happen because those young people wouldn't be here if they knew they couldn't buy something from this place.
But longtime community activist Kenji Scott,
this is him. This is his failure to keep the city safe.
Says it's not the restaurant, but the mayor who ultimately should be held accountable for what happened.
The people who did this felt they could get away with it, and the reason why they felt they can get away with it, because the mayor has failed to keep the city safe. Who's responsible for the 15% that he said that we would have a 15% reduction in homicides every year? Why he's mad? We haven't seen that.
The outrage over the shooting also seen Wednesday among community members who confronted Councilman Christopher Burnett, who represents the area. Constituents demanding accountability.
Our children are dying.
And what you doing about it?
Y'all sitting
What
in
you
the
doing about it? And what are you doing about it?
Yo, what are you going to do? What you got to do?
I've been in every single one of these stores. I've been in every one of these stores.
But as the investigation continues and the blame game ongoing, with the mayor saying several elements are responsible for this tragedy, for some in the community, the focus is one.
We always hear him talking about being a man. When will he man up and accept the responsibility of his failure to keep...
In a statement released today, Popeyes said, quote, "We closely work with local officials and respect their wishes to not serve students during the school day." They went on to say, no one from Popeyes was involved in that shooting. We're live tonight. Keith Daniels, Fox 45 News.
8 straight years, more than 300 people have been murdered in Baltimore, and 5 days into the new year, 14 people have already been shot and touched by gun violence. 11 of them have survived, but 3, all young people, have been killed. The latest death, a 16-year-old boy in southwest Baltimore. He was shot alongside 4 other students yesterday afternoon at the Edmondson Village shop.
Now, the new year has brought changes and promise to Baltimore as well. Ivan Bates is now the city's top prosecutor, and he's vowing to turn the page in the fight against crime. In his first act, he's overturning some policies from former city state's attorney Marilyn Mosby. This evening, Bates held a town hall that he's calling Take Back Our Streets. The panel included city, state, and federal partners. Visibly absent was Baltimore Mayor Brandon Scott. The panel covered a wide range of topics from guns to drugs and policy as well. Ivan Bates doubled down on his promise to be tough on crime and prosecute when necessary.
The person continues to show time and time again that they don't want to follow the law, that they want to do what they want to do, and they don't want to avail themselves to these to the diversionary programs. You asking to be prosecuted.
As you can see, there's this big blame game going around. The mayor wants to blame the Popeyes franchise for the violence there because they sell to the students who come there during their lunch hour. Now, there's nothing. I mean, I've seen many campuses where students have been allowed to leave campus and go and eat lunch at places in the area. I don't know how prevalent that is today. I know when I was in school, I know it happened, and we didn't have any violence and things like this happening. But at the same time, we had Temptations and Martha Reeves and the Vandellas and Arthur Price Sock, to mention a few. We didn't have these demonic rappers around who preaching to us to go out and get a gun and shoot and kill. We didn't have guns, automatic weapons dropped off in our communities where we would can get them for a little or nothing or even free. We didn't have that going on with us in those days. And I tell you, why do we have it now? We didn't have drugs dropped off in our communities back in those days. Now you have the drugs, you have the drug dealers, you have the weapons, and you have this rap which glorify the drugs and the weapons and the shooting and the killing, and nobody seems to put the blame where it should be. It's on the recording industry that's associated with the gangster rap, and nobody wants to bring this out and talk about it. Nobody. Here they have a town hall meeting, which you will not see in this video, but this town hall meeting was held. And maybe I will show this town hall meeting, and you see in this meeting what they are talking about. They're talking about incarceration. Nobody's talking about what can we do to stop this. What can we do to get rid of this here rap, which subliminally giving messages to our youth to go out and commit murder against each other. Nobody's talking about this. They all blaming a Popeye chicken place for the mayor, and he's sitting up there with his councilman, and they both look like they just part of the rap generation. So how can they do anything and bring anything into control if they are part of the problem. They don't see it because they enjoy that type of Jay-Z and Puff Daddy and whoever, Meek Mill and others out there who are putting out this demonic and devastating and degrading so-called music, the Gangsta Rap. So people, I want you to just take a look. Let's look at this video here with the city council, not the town hall meeting that they had, I believe, on last evening.
We begin with Mackenzie Frost. Mackenzie is live with the takeaway from tonight's town hall. Mackenzie, a lot to unpack.
Yeah, there really is a lot to unpack, Kai and Mary. For the first time under this new administration, a united front when it comes to tackling the violent crime in Baltimore. Hinging on working together, the panel tonight calling themselves the Super Bowl team. Capping a week full of inauguration events,
Mr. Ivan Bates is our new state's attorney.
Ivan Bates joining the U.S. Attorney for Maryland, Eric Barron, and other top law enforcement and prosecutors for a public safety town hall. On the stage for the first time together, Police Commissioner Michael Harrison, State Attorney General Anthony Brown, Bates, Barron, and Inspector General Isabel Mercedes Cumming, showing a united front to a city in the middle of a crime crisis.
And I believe you have a world-class Super Bowl Vince Lombardi championship team sitting on this stage tonight.
If a person continues to show time and time again that they don't want to follow the law, that they want to do what they want to do, and they don't want to avail themselves to these to the diversionary programs, you asking to be prosecuted.
Noticeably absent, Mayor Brandon Scott, while Baltimore comes off the 8th straight year of surpassing 300 homicides. A big topic and a growing trend in the city, juvenile crime and how to handle kids getting involved in Baltimore's biggest concern.
The answer to that has to be no, that we have to begin to hold juveniles accountable.
On top of kids and violent crime discussed, guns and how this panel will curb the gun violence in the city.
Guns are what's being used to kill and terrorize our community. Now, if you're a repeat violent offender, you gotta ask once again that we invoke what's called the mandatory minimum, and you will receive 5 years without the possibility of parole for that illegal handgun.
Bates turning to his federal prosecutor partner.
Call my friend over here and asking him and the U.S. Attorney's Office to take your case so you can get a significant amount of jail time.
And U.S. Attorney Barron says his office is ready for the challenge.
We're lowering our criteria for taking cases. We're trying to take as many gun cases and work with the state's attorney's office as possible.
Bates and the panel making it clear their goal is to get illegal guns and the people pulling the trigger off the street. Talking tough on crime, holding people accountable together, seemingly all on the same page.
Paramount that we have not just partnerships, but good partnerships. Because every partner is not a good partner. But we have to have good partnerships. When I say partnerships, I am talking about unfettered access to all the information and all of the decisions that are made in each of the agencies. I'm just too excited to be here with all of our partners to talk about how we together, with you, go out and make it better. We're going to see that our work has meaning.
But the police work, put together a good case, then they bring it to the state's attorney's office and it falls apart. Then they're demoralized. But we have to work together so we know where the hot spot is. Then what we do is we sit together and we talk about a plan.
We still make a lot of drug arrests. And we go after and make arrests of drug dealers all the time. Persons who are just in possession of drugs has been one of the crimes that has not been prosecuted. So we had to adjust policy on how we go about catching drug dealers if we're not arresting the drug people who are in possession of it.
Police are terrible.
A bad breakup between Baltimore police and those it serves.
Like, we have to question why the crime is happening in the first place.
Crimes that still keep this mother awake at night.
I can't talk about that.
Her son was killed in 2008, but she keeps his memory alive every day.
That's his show. And hat.
One of the many victims of Baltimore gun violence.
He was murdered by 3 young men. What happened? They were robbing a liquor establishment, and of course he was shot and killed.
Waiting patiently outside tonight's town hall, she had this request for Commissioner Harrison.
Make an appointment with me so that we can talk.
Talk is exactly what Commissioner Harrison did.
It takes a partnership with the community because everything we do is for the community and about the community and for the community.
Well, people, you've seen how the blame game goes. Nobody wants to try to get to the bottom of what's happening in our communities. While all of these killings and shootings and just going on and on, we all want to blame someone else. In this particular case here, where the four or five kids got shot at the Baltimore, near Baltimore High School, Edmondson High School, at the Edmondson shopping center, they want to blame Popeyes. Other want to blame the city schools. Other want to blame the mayor and police. Other wants to blame the city council. But nobody wants to blame the rap culture and the record company moguls, those who are making billions off of this demonic rap. Nobody wants to get right down to it. And you notice that a lot of these people that's the attorneys there, the state attorney, the city attorney, and the U.S. attorney for Baltimore, they all part of that rap generation going back to from the 80s on, you know. So they should at the least be able to see what is happening. They grew up in this. They got out of it, but they don't even want to recognize. They don't want to touch it. It seems like that rap industry has a hold on all of these leaders in this country. Nobody speaks about it. Not anybody in Congress speaks about it. The rap. Matter of fact, I told you about the president of Ghana having Meek Mill at his in his office. But when Obama was the president, he had also rappers there in his office. He met with them. He met with Jay-Z and others. And not only him, but I believe Trump met with some rapper in his office, as well as Bush. I mean, this thing is all the way up to the top, people. When are we going to wake up and try to resolve this issue here? I mean, it's what destroying this country, along with the other demonic stuff that's going on. And you know what I'm talking about. Look at everything, the commercials that come on TV. All of these things play a role in what is happening. Who putting the guns in the streets out there? How do these kids go out and pay $2,500 for an automatic weapon? Where do they get the money from if they're not selling drugs? All of them are not selling drugs, but they got in their mind that they can sell drugs because they get that subliminal message. And then many of them are doing it. I mean, sure, drugs have been sold for years, going back from the 60s. I mean, drugs were sold, but not in the way that they are now placed in these communities. Who's letting the drugs come into this country? I mean, what type of drugs are they? I mean, and you listen to this rap stuff, and that's all they talk about, drugging and denigrating the black women. And I want you to take a look at this Meek Mill. He had a bus riding down the street. If I can get a picture of that, I'm a post it here. But for sure, I'm gonna find his album cover that he came out with in last October. I'm telling you, people, you got to wake up and you got to start to write to your congressman, your city people, representatives, whoever that's in the chain of commands, all the way from your county all the way up to your federal officials that's representing you, your senator, your congressman, and even the president. You got to get your pen out and or get your laptop out and start to type it, and letting these people know that you want some change in this country. You want laws that to be regulated the industry of the music industry and the movies and theaters. You want these laws to be put into place as soon as possible, people. Because I tell you, if you believe in the biblical teaching, I mean, we are living in the time of Sodom and Gomorrah. And I tell you, and what happened to Sodom and Gomorrah? And I think if we don't make some changes here, it's going to definitely happen to us in this country. Well, with that, people, I'm going to sign off, but I want you to put some comments down there. Let me know what you think. What do you think should happen here? And also subscribe. I appreciate that, and have a good one.